This is Red Moon Roleplaying, Masks of Nyarlathotep. Where last we left our investigators, Felix Bauer had died. But Madeleine Hopper was busy investigating the Egyptian murders in Soho. Meanwhile, Shelby Shattuck and Jackson Elias had headed north to Derbyshire on the train, and indeed that is where he is right now. Shelby, you are sat in a train carriage alongside Jackson. Jackson is leafing through a newspaper but puts it down, sighs, fiddles with a ring on his finger, stops.
You're worried about her, aren't you?
Yeah, obvious, isn't it?
A bit.
Look, and in a lot of ways, while I was in Sing Sing, thinking of Madeleine was one of those things that kept me going. I know I was hardly in there for any time at all compared to some people who end up locked up without due course and a fair trial, but she's a good woman. And yeah, he stopped short of saying, I love her. Maybe that's just implied. He looks out the window. Their relationship, and they made no real secret of the fact, was pretty relaxed when they first got together. But time sometimes strengthens these things, as does adversity. As he's looking out the window at the rain spattering it, he then looks back to you. So what's this I hear about you and Erica Carlisle?
Rumors, the usual gossip. I was asking her about the expedition, and she found me charming, so I took advantage of the situation.
He gives a okay, sort of judgy look and shakes his head and says, look, I'm not one to sit in judgment, despite the fact he clearly is. Sometimes you've got to do... And he puts a hand out. Look, it's unfair of me to say unpleasant things. I'm sure Erica Carlisle is perfectly pleasant, but in this line of research, you end up having to make some deals and some friends that you'd rather not have. And I don't mean that about you, Shelby. I mean, I'm more than happy to be sharing this. Look, I'm just going to take my foot out of my mouth and maybe keep staring out the window for a while.
I get what you're saying, Jackson. I mean, I don't know, maybe at some point in the future I could sit down and maybe have an actual honest conversation, but right now, given everything we know, I can't trust anybody with the last name Carlisle,
That I completely agree with, and was kind of where I was going with the whole unpleasantness. So look, I don't know much about Erica beyond the fact that she seems to not have a great deal of respect for her missing, presumed dead brother.
That's true.
But there's a lot of kinds of people she doesn't seem to have a great deal of respect for, so in turn, I can't say that she's high in my affections.
If you were worried about offending me with your opinion, don't. I mean, again, charming woman, but you and I have both met a lot of charming people that wouldn't want to spend much time with.
Yeah, and I can extend a certain amount of sympathy to someone like Erica Carlisle. And this isn't necessarily easy for me to say, but listen, if you were raised in wealth, like I said, it's hard to be sympathetic, but let's try. You're raised in the proverbial gilded cage and taught a certain way of thinking, and all of a sudden your world crashes down. You've lost your parents, your brother is missing, now you're just surrounded by staff who will of course agree with absolutely everything you say. I'm sure she goes to charity functions, galas, opens the occasional institution, cuts the ribbon, that kind of thing. But the world you're in shapes the way you think. It takes quite a mind to break out of it.
You're not entirely wrong, but also it can be done. I mean, My family owned a business. My parents died tragically. My brother inherited the business. We had immigrant workers working for us. I was taught a certain way of viewing things, and then I went overseas and I learned a lot more, and I now am shocked and appalled by some of the things that I was taught and told. So, I mean, I see your point. If I didn't have that exile to overseas to be conveniently put out of the way, maybe I wouldn't have had that opportunity to grow. Maybe I would still be that limited person I was before. But people can change, and I have to believe that.
I think we've got to. You can't be consumed by hopelessness. You'd be amazed I could write a book about some of the people I met in prison for the brief time I was actually allowed among the population and not kept in solitary. People from all walks of life, you're told on the outside that it's always the same kind of person who ends up inside. And I gotta say, I think I believed that. Then, of course, I ended up in that position. And that's not me holding myself above these people, because certainly prison is no discriminator of race or age or intelligence. It's a bit of a leveler when it comes down to it. You get your gangs and you get your strong beliefs expressed there, but there's plenty of thoughtful people too. Some people who just made mistakes, some people who met the wrong judge. Of course, some people unrepentant, but might have believed in what they were doing. It's a fascinating petri dish, if you like, a little microcosm of society, and they can never get out unless that judge who put them there might smile or a new piece of evidence gets found.
I understand that, but I think in some ways our own world is a bit of a petri dish. I mean, the things that we know, and I say that and I quickly glance around, make sure nobody else is listening in too closely.
He laughs at that because you are in a closed carriage where someone would have to pull the door to the side, though you have become fairly accustomed now to having to look over your shoulder.
Indeed, it's instinct, it's habit at this point, and perhaps not one I want to get rid of anytime soon. But I continue my thought. The things we know, it reframes things. You know, now people could be in prison for all sorts of reasons, but they could also be trapped in their own situations. They could be trapped in their own minds. With the knowledge they have, with the things they've seen. So it makes it, weirdly, I'm somewhat more sympathetic to people in general. I mean, obviously we have people we have to be wary of because we don't know where our enemies have entrenched into. We don't know sometimes who is our friend and who is our ally, but also I'm more sympathetic to people making mistakes because we've seen there's so much worse. So you picked a pocket, so you stole a pie off a window, so you defrauded someone out of a few bucks. In the grand scale of things, what does that matter?
He whistles at that, an exhalation. That's something I've been wrestling with. He checks his watch, not because you're boring him, but because he's wondering when you're going to reach Derby Station. Something I've been wrestling with, and something I am contemplating how far I want to go. Not with this investigation I'll follow to the end, I've got to. But when you put it in that context, when you think of how trapped are we, when you realise there are people we're meeting now in every city we visit who believe there are other worlds out there, other dimensions to existence, it could, like you say, make everything feel pretty insignificant. But there's a way that might crush you if you suddenly realise that everything you're doing is futile, that every effort you make is ultimately pointless. People can succumb to that already. Look at the French. They end up thinking, not the whole nation, he says, correcting himself. They're great ones for believing that all of this is Nothing. That in the great tapestry of life we are but a tiny spark, but not enough to light the tapestry, not enough to leave a mark. Certainly there's the occasional person from time to time. Your Jesuses, your Genghis Khans. Not often that those two end up in the same breath, but most of us are going to slip by without a second thought 100 years after our passing, please. And when you then expand it beyond time, but think of it in spatial terms, that it isn't just that we're small on this planet, we're small in the universe.
Right.
It means you've got to find meaning in what you're doing, I think. It needs to become more about your actions and less about how important you consider yourself. I think you've got to forget ego, unless you can derive satisfaction from your ego. But I guess this is coming full circle, because when I think of not just Madeline, but you and Felix and Rupert and everyone else we've spent time with, good and bad, it's their existence that's important to me.
Right, exactly. And that's how I feel. It's like you mentioned, you feel so small and it can crush you. And I'm finding something of the opposite, in that the small matters more to me now. The life of a person matters more to me, because it could be so easy to be swept up in affairs of state. It could be or the politics of the day, or the large sweeping concerns of nations or peoples. But when these kinds of things exist, what can I do to help my friend? What can I do to help my loved ones? What can I do to get through to the next day? And knowing that you have those people there, that you're there for them and they're there for you, that has been bringing me meaning in a way that I didn't really consider before, because I was always so obsessed with my next book or the next thing I research, or will I ever be known as a good literary talent, or will my studies ever bring me satisfaction? Now, those things still matter to me, but they matter less than knowing that getting you out of your situation, helping Madeline with her problems, helping Felix recover from his trauma, those things matter to me more because of what I know. Does that make sense?
It does to me. I suppose we need to make our own matchbox philosophy, find joy in the small things.
Yes, exactly.
At which point the cabin door slides open, the ticket collector standing there. Next stop will be Derby, sirs. That's where your ticket has you alight.
Thank you.
He slides the door shut again. So, from Derby, we'll be catching a train from the Hope Valley line. That will take us through Adale. We'll get out that village, at which point we'll have to find a way to get to Lesser Adale, which is a sister village, if you like, of Adale, and that's where we need to investigate this killer beast, as Mahoney named it in his article.
I pull the article back out and reread it to refresh my memory. Police baffled by monstrous murders. Killer beast shot, but still alive? Derwent Valley residents, shocked last month by 2 murders and a serious assault on a 3rd victim, are still without a satisfactory explanation or perpetrator of the dreadful attacks. At that time, Lesser Adale farmer George Osgood and resident Lydia Perkins were torn to shreds in apparently unrelated murders on consecutive nights. On the 3rd night, wheelwright Harold Short was nearly killed but managed to drive off his attacker, which he described as a, quote, grisly creature, unquote. According to the Lesser Adale Constabulary, a rabid dog was shot and killed on the night of Mr. Short's attack. The police believe the matter to be closed. Nevertheless, local residents have subsequently claimed to have seen and heard a strange beast lurking around the area. Reportedly, the good folk of Lesser still endure sleepless nights due to the bizarre wailings of the beast on nights of the full moon. Readers of the Scoop are reminded of their esteemed journal's long-standing danger protocols, and are advised that the picturesque glens of the Derbyshire Peak District have been declared to be a zone of high danger. Residents of the Midlands are advised to remain indoors at night and to report all mysterious happenings to the police and the Scoop.
So you're probably wondering why I asked Mahoney to look into this. I mean, this isn't exactly the bloody tongue, is it?
It's a bit more Hound of the Baskervilles. I was curious, yeah.
It's more about location than anything. My research tells me that the Penhew Foundation has got connection to some industry in the Derbyshire area. And this industry, a business that goes by the name of Henson Manufacturing, is leased. It is the land of the Vane family. Vane. Now, the Vane family are a family of aristocrats, old money, going back a long, long way. And they live in this Lesser Dale location. Now, I didn't know if Henson Manufacturing had anything to do with the Carlisle expedition. I was researching everything I could about Aubrey Penhew and just stumbled upon this manufacturing concern. But then, when I was looking into the area, I stumbled upon these crimes, these wild beast attacks. And it got me to wondering. It's uncommon, I found, for, let's use the word supernatural. It's uncommon for supernatural accounts, or even grisly murders, to be committed in utter isolation from other factors, in my experience. Think of everything that happened in Peru, or pretty much every single threat that we faced was all tied to that damn pyramid. In New York, every threat you encountered was tied to the bloody tongue. Here, maybe I am clutching. That's why I had Mahoney dig into a lot of different spaces. This was what he found out. So, I'd like to get to the bottom of it. Find out what the nature of these killings was, if they are still going on, what their source might be, and if they connect at all to this manufacturing development.
Do you know what Henson manufactures?
No, it's a company name I've got on paper. For all I know, all it is a plaque on the wall on an empty mailbox. And this is where they have registered their business. I never got this far is the problem. I was all but confined to London, and then I was forced to flee. So this could be a dead end. But I think it's worth researching. At which point you arrive in Derby. And it is from there that you catch the next train. And this is a much shorter journey. So what are you thinking then, Shelby? You're now crammed on a train with various other, mostly country folk, it has to be said. No more individual cabins for you. This is a communal train that makes its way all the way from Derby to Manchester.
I'm thinking what we probably want to do is, well, first of all, find a place to settle in. If we just show up and start asking questions, I'm worried that we'll get far too much attention. But if we get a room, unpack our things, and then start asking around, people might be a little more at ease, know that we're going to be there for a bit, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as much as I hate to say it, we might want to talk to the police first and see if they have anything. Although I am wondering maybe if we should try to talk to Mr. Short first. That's what I'm debating about, whether I want to talk to the police first or Mr. Short first.
The survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's sensible. If you like, we can split up. I can cover one of them, you do the other, if you want to speak to the police officer.
Sure, I can do that.
And that's what we'll do. you alight in the village of Idale. And you find, once arriving there, that not only are they caught in the midst of a downpour, that there's also no taxis that run from this train station. You have a choice here, and Jackson doesn't look too happy about it, given that you're both carrying cases with your luggage, not knowing how long you're supposed to be staying. You either hike the 5 miles to Lesser Idale, or try to thumb a lift from somebody who might be heading in that direction.
In the downpour.
In a downpour, yes. The odds are not in your favour either way.
As much as I would love to be in a reasonably dry and warm wagon, I think we're simply just going to have to walk the 5 miles and be bedraggled.
5-mile walk in the rain across the peaks. Sounds great to me, says Jackson. And bizarrely, even though he sounds sarcastic, the look on his face is actually this fresh air and stretching our legs might do us some good. That happy mood lasts for all of about 20 minutes. By which point the wind has started whipping the rain around him and he's saying, "Fucking British weather, you don't get weather like this in the States," he says, his hat flying off. "Jesus!" As he leaves the road, trudges over a field, grabs his hat, puts it back on his head, irrespective of the fact that there's now mud on it. He trudges back to the road, puts his thumb out, there's no vehicles in sight, as if wishing for a car to pass by. Make a luck roll, please, Shelby.
17 under 46.
At that, maybe Jackson does have a bit of magic about him, because a vehicle does indeed hove into view and headed in the right direction too. It is not a automobile, it is a cart. A farmer's cart. But it does mean you're not going to have to walk anymore, because the farmer, with a certain amount of mirth, it must be said, and brings his horses to a halt. Takes a look at the both of you. Where are you headed then?
We're heading into Lesser Idale, and
all right, jump on.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Jackson thanks him profusely as well, climbs on board, throws his luggage up and climbs on board, and then starts picking at the mud on his hat. "Do you mind if we pull this cover over the cart?" "No, go ahead."
Thank you, sir.
And so, like stowaways, you are smuggled into Lesser Idale under a sheet at the back of a cart. As I say, it's a 5-mile journey, 8 kilometres or thereabouts. And by the time you arrive, despite the cover, you're both sodden. "Here are Lesser Idale."
Oh, thank you so much, sir. And I pull my aching body out of the cart, grab my things, step down into mud. So now I'm wet and muddy.
The rain has abated somewhat. It's still a drizzle, a thick drizzle. Like, you walk out and it's a sort of almost tropical haze. In fact, the humidity is making it slightly tropical and only making your clothes stick to you. But, and here's the positive, the view is amazing. The limestone cliffs and outcrops that surround Lesser Idale, lovely wooded vales and moorland that stretch off in another direction. Heck, you can even see a waterfall back the way you came. You completely passed it by while you were under cover, but stepping out into the mud, you can see a waterfall leading off of a outcropping and down the hill back toward the Derby direction. It certainly doesn't evoke the dangers of London or New York.
I look around and realize that the last time I was in any kind of wilderness and nature, remotely resembling this, has been Peru. Since then, it's been major urban area to major urban area to major urban area, which is where I'm usually comfortable, but there is something to be said for the beautiful expanse, the loneliness, the clarity, the simplicity, dare I say, of this kind of land. I can certainly see why some people have become very fond of living in places like this.
Jackson disagrees. Fucking rain. Guess you'll be wanting some place to stay.
Yes, please, if you know any suggestions.
Laughing Horse. He points back up the road away. That's the only inn here.
Excellent, thank you so much. And not sure what the etiquette is, but I offer him some money.
He laughs and shakes his head and G's his horses into rolling forward.
Well, then thank you anyway, sir.
Yeah. Oh, he was nice. Let's get inside.
Yes, let's get some warm drinks into you.
Yeah, I'm sorry about my mood. I thought I'd be... it's strange, you know, we've hiked over the Andes, and for some reason, the Peak District was a little too much for me.
Well, I've lived in England for a few years now, so I've gotten used to the rain, but it is an acquired experience, let me tell you. So I'm not at all surprised that you're reacting poorly to it, shall we say.
He appreciates the sympathy. And it is just as well that you've reached the Laughing Horse, because dark storm clouds are on the horizon and the wind is starting to kick up again. Indeed, as you enter the Laughing Horse, it's quite clear that the vast majority of people, working people from Lesser Idale, are likewise taking advantage of the shelter. The weather afflicts farmers and outdoor workers just as much as it does tourists like you. And when there's only one inn in the village, well, it becomes the place to hang out. And so much as Madeline was crammed into a bar with 18 people, you are crammed into a pub with closer to 30, maybe 35. You haven't done a head count yet. The major benefit here is there's more space, there's a fire roaring in the hearth, there's a great deal of good humour. People are laughing, people are telling jokes. There's some fellow playing on a pipe right now in the corner, and good 8 or 9 people sitting around clapping as he entertains them. And even though much of his tune can't be heard over the rest of the conversation, it's obvious his audience appreciates him. The bar steward is busy pulling a pint for someone who has just strolled up. The two of you look like tourists. There's no way of getting around that. But this isn't a Western where everyone stops and stares at you. This seems to be a very friendly pub.
I take a moment to appreciate the good humor and also think about how I have lived a life where that kind of response is novel and perhaps not to be trusted. But I shake it off. And we go to the bar stewards. I think is the right person to ask for accommodations. Then I will go there.
Well, hello there. You, he looks you up and down. Got caught in the rain then, did you?
A bit. But someone took pity on us and brought us into town, which we were deeply appreciative of.
Oh, no town this. Quite happy with it being a village and no bigger than that. Sorry, don't mean to correct like something great. So we're happy to have you here. Hikers, are you?
We're coming to town to look around for a bit, yes. And don't worry about correcting me. As you can tell from my accent, I'm still new to the area.
Oh, well, you're welcome. You're welcome no matter where you come from. You know, we had a couple of people here not long ago, all the way from Norway, hiking through.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they said. Anyway, I mean, I can't tell a Norwegian from a Dane myself, but they said Norway, so I've no reason to doubt them. It's common people stop here on their way through the districts, hiking the mountains, you see.
It is beautiful country. I can certainly see why it'd be attractive to hike through.
Well, we're certainly very happy with it.
You should be.
So, are you looking to stay the night?
The night, yes. Maybe a couple of days. We'll see how things pan out, but certainly at least the night so we can dry up.
Well, rooms are available for 2 and 6, breakfast included. You'll get the full works here. And I guess if you need any help, any local knowledge, he gestures broadly at the bar. Practically everybody here is a local. There ain't nobody who don't know nothing about nothing. Which is to say, we all know about Mam's Tor, for example. That's a good place. A lot of people like to visit that one. If you're interested in the history of the area. Blue John Cavern, if you want to, get underground, have a look at some of the old mines and caves. There's Castle Plum up in the hills, though that is a, what do they call it? He drums his fingers. A lived-in castle, as in you can't just stroll up and expect to nosy around without an invitation.
Yeah,
that's the word. Aye. But otherwise, the countryside is yours to roam. I just might suggest pick better weather next time.
Yeah. One thing I've learned since I've been here so far is that sometimes I don't get the choice. The rain comes whether I want it to or not.
We know all about that up here.
Out of curiosity, though, you mentioned a tour. Is there a lot of those kinds of ruins around here, or is it just the one?
Not much in the way of guided. I mean, we're only a small village. Most of the people here work in the village. We got the shop down the street. We got our church, a small police station, post office. But otherwise, everyone here is working a farm, and he lowers his voice, but it's a bit conspiratorial, a bit pantomime-like. You could be mistaken when you arrive here, sir, for thinking you've gone back in time. We've still got a blacksmith, we've still got, upholsterer, we got all the people, weavers, and so on, you might have found here 100, 200, 500 years ago. But it's, some of us will head into town when we need to, but most of us are happy enough where we are. Lesser Dale's been about since at least King Charles II's time.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's what they say. I'm no historian myself, I just know how to work a pump. Beer?
Please. Jackson, do you want one?
Oh, yes, please. Sorry I haven't said much. I'm concentrating on not dripping all over your lovely carpet. No, don't worry about the carpet. It's had much worse on it than rainwater. He says that with a smile, pulling a pint for you.
So as the pints are being pulled, I'm going to kind of get a glance around. You mentioned that the atmosphere is really friendly. I'm checking to see if I can get from the body language of the barman or even other people around if they're reacting to Jackson specifically differently.
No, I'm not even going to ask you to make a roll here. There is a certain amount of, and I don't necessarily like to use this term, colour blindness to the people in this village, and there's a fair reason for it. Historically speaking, there would have been plenty of people of colour working fields, working in factories, working as artisans in the Midlands, which is where you are now, and not in slave roles. Obviously, Britain did away with that slightly earlier than America, and the class-based system has always been more significant in Britain than racial division. That isn't to say racial divisions don't exist, even in the 1920s, or especially in the 1920s. But there was a firm view of, you're working class just like me.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that could lead to confusion. Sometimes that could even lead to enmity, especially if a black man, for instance, considers himself anything other than working class. But in this village, Jackson doesn't stand out.
Then I'll relax a bit, kind of not even realizing that my shoulders are a bit tense. But may also be because finally in the warm. I'll take the beers and pay the 2 and 6 and then pay for the beers as well. and say, is there a table free? Or
Well, why don't you take this key? He slides a key across the bar. The place is empty of tourists, so you take the first room up the stairs on the right. That's a room for both of you, assuming you don't mind.
No, I don't mind.
And you get yourself dried off. I'll keep all of your drinks down here. I promise I won't pour them away. And once you're in something a little dry, that room, the chimney goes right up through it. So you hang your clothes next to it. They'll be dried out within the next couple of hours. Come down, obviously, in something fresh, and maybe you'll be a little more comfortable while you're drinking your beer.
Lovely, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome.
We'll make our way up to the room with carrying our sodden valises with us.
Jackson parks his at the end of the bed before thinking better of it and parking it on the floor. He sighs, rubbing a hand over his face. Feels like it's been a long journey.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if you wanted to maybe wait till tomorrow before I start asking questions.
No, I think the less time we're up here, the better. As much as we might be courting exhaustion, I kind of... Sorry, Derbyshire, he says, gesturing to the great outdoors, but I want to get back to London and... Well, Madeline and Felix, I want to make sure they're okay as quickly as we can. Good that they've got a post office, though. That means we can send a telegram back without having to head back into Derby.
Agreed. Then what I'm thinking is change, have a little bit of drink. As soon as the rain eases up a bit, if it's not too late, I will go let Rupert know that we've made it.
Sure.
You can maybe keep an ear out as to what people are talking about. And then I'll do a quick nosy around while I'm doing that, but then I'll head back here and then we'll start figuring out who we want to talk to and when.
Absolutely. Oh, and you know what, he says, looking outdoors. It is getting slightly dark now. Full moon tomorrow, he says, ominously. Turns back around to you.
Yeah, they did say they hear the wailings of the beast on the full moon.
Arrived at the right time, then. Anyway, you get yourself to the post office.
Yeah. So I'll quickly change my clothes and I'll go past the barman and I'll say, I'll be right back. I just realized I need to send a message to a friend at the post office, then I'll come get my drink.
And you head on out. Meanwhile, drinking elsewhere in Britain, Madeline. Though, despite your hit of Egyptian moonshine, you may not be tempted to drink anything being served at the Blue Pyramid. It is entirely up to you, naturally. Did you arrive on time to meet up with Anna? What are your thoughts, Madeline? Any preparation you wish to take beforehand?
Every intention of policing my time to where I can arrive just before 8 p.m., but it's a very busy sprint between leaving the Nile and then getting to the Blue Pyramid. And Keeper, we can roleplay this, or you can just kind of like check boxes, but there's just a handful of things I would love to squeeze in there in between if possible.
Go for it. Tell me.
Absolutely do the standard telegram where it was Nile. It'll say Nile Bar Blue Pyramid meeting with Yalisha. So at least they have that. But I'm also just going to call in and let Rupert know exactly what's going on as well. I might as well just double dip. So I will let Rupert know that I have connected with a woman by the name of Anna at the Nile Bar, that I'm going to be connecting with her sister. Pretty much all the information I have, I'm going to send to Rupert. But I'm also going to make Rupert promise me that if anything happens to me, that Shelby is going to help this young girl named Anna with her future literary career.
Oh, well, he says, I will pass on the obligation to Shelby. I'm sure he would be more than happy to take on an apprentice. Frankly, I think he's getting a little long in the tooth. It's time he took on some new blood. You are the first to check in.
Okay. They had a long journey, and I'm the first, but I won't be the last. We'll hear from Felix soon, and we'll also hear from Shelby and Jackson soon. But
I am positive. Don't you worry, Madeline. It is highly likely they're all just having a grand time, wherever it is they each happen to be. Though I should ask, am I on call? That's the one thing Shelby didn't clarify with me. He said he wanted me to be like a hub of messages, like a dispatch center or something, which I'm more than happy to be. But if, let's say, I hear from you, and then in 30 minutes I hear from Felix, and then the night goes, and Shelley doesn't get in touch, am I supposed to be hopping on a train to Derby to track him down?
Rupert, your decision-making from the moment that I met you hasn't failed us. I'm not going to police your time. I'm not going to tell you what you should do or what you shouldn't do or how you should operate in this. We're all making it up as we go along. But we trust you, Rupert. If you receive a message that concerns you enough that you believe you need to hop on a train, just somehow find a way to let me know, and then go do what you have to do.
Well, as they say, roger that, and I will keep on my toes. And not a drink shall pass my lips while I wait like a postman for everyone's messages.
Well, if you're looking for something to do, I am going to the Blue Pyramid tonight. If you just want to be a +1, you're more than welcome to join. Actually, also, I need a dress shop location. Something snazzy that will fit that particular vibe.
Oh, well, if you're going... The Blue Pyramid, that's in Soho, isn't it? On... let's think, it's Wardour Street, I think. You'll want to go to Regent Street. It's only a couple over. And... Well, I say a couple. I suppose it depends on which direction you take. Anyway, you get off at Oxford Circus, London Underground Station, that is, Madeline. And... You'll find any bevy of wonderful shops with all kinds of gowns at Regent Street, though the vast majority of types in the Blue Pyramid are quite bohemian, I would suggest.
All right, so bohemian. This is obviously a woman that doesn't know anything about style, so I'm repeating back to myself, repeating back to him. Okay, and the most important question that I have for you tonight, Rupert. What color do you think is going to look best on me?
Oh, Madeline, for some reason when I picture in my mind, I'm thinking of red and gold. I don't know why those two together, but those two seem to...
Red and gold. As I said, Rupert, I trust you. I will find something decadent in red and gold. But if anything happens to me, Shelby, he's taking care of the girl, Anna, okay?
Shelby is taking care of a girl called Anna. I've got that. Go for scarlet, not crimson. You'd look far better in a bright red than a dark.
There's a difference between scarlet and crimson. Okay.
And have a lovely time at the Blue Pyramid. I've heard all kinds of stories about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I will give you a debriefing when I'm out. Just before, if I can make it across town in time, I am going to stop by and talk to Mickey Bahuni. But if I can't, I'll head straight over to... Regent Street and see what I can get together. I love you. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.
Wow. You can indeed see Mickey Mahoney. What is it you intend to ask the reporter before you go dress shopping?
I am not asking Mickey Mahoney for anything, but I am giving him everything. Everything I have on the Hermetic Order of the Golden Disc Dawn, he's getting a full report. All of it. I'm not holding anything back.
It's like a great purge. In more ways than one.
Everything comes out. Anything that will compromise I'll correct this much. Anything that directly compromises our investigation or gives any additional ties back to Jackson Elias, I'll sever those connections. But as far as what's happening in that building, he's going to get everything. And I'm just going to ask, can you sit on it for at least 72 hours? We have one lead that we're resolving that happened or that sprang from that situation. Just 72 hours before you do anything with it. And after that, give them complete hell.
Can I haggle you down a bit? Says Mickey, adjusting his spectacles. Can we call it 48?
Mickey.
Reason I ask, and it's just a simple reason. It's all... Let me explain something to you about how newspapers work, love. And I don't mean this in a... Well, I suppose it is a bit patronising, but I'll explain. If what happened, and I'm sure it did, likelihood is someone's going to be doing some cleaning up right now. Now... What that means is the earlier we publish, more likely it is we'll be able to get other people going in verifying. The Scoop aren't usually that involved in deep and invested research. We cover the gloss, is other than when people are specifically hired, like Jackson hired me. But I imagine if we blow this open, you'll get reporters from all kinds of papers, from the Telegraph to the Times, knocking on their door. 48 hours?
I look down at my watch because I don't want to be late. And I look up to Mickey. Really, what's the difference between 72 hours and 48 hours? Felix is going to have the information that we need. He would have already contacted Shelby. I don't know why he hasn't checked in. He should have checked in by now. But maybe... I don't know. Mickey, when I arrived there, a little girl opened the door. She couldn't have been 10, 11, 12 at most. Do what you have to do.
You giving me carte blanche, as they say, because it and again, not doubting any of it, but if it's as dangerous as you're saying to some of the young people who are there, should we not just run with this?
And I think back to the bruises on that girl's wrists, and I think back to the dilated pupils and the haziness, and I just... strategy and tactics be damned. You should run with this.
Alright, I'm going to do you one better, love. I'm going to publish it in the Scoop. I'm going to sell it. You'll get any cut that you need. I know you're not doing it for the money. I'm going to call up some of my friends at some of the other papers. I'm going to see if we can get this going wide. Less ways to hide if the national papers are talking about you.
And they deserve to be seen.
By the sounds of it, they deserve to be burned like an ant under a magnifying glass.
Everything I said is true. Mickey, I'm so sorry, but I have to go. Please, do what you have to do. Just don't mention names.
No, I won't. Don't worry. Protect my sources. Always have.
Thank you. I don't know how many kids they have in there. I remember...
Go. You've obviously got somewhere to be, and it's in my hands now.
Crimson and Scarlet, right. Good luck, Mickey. Be safe. I should have something new for you, possibly by the end of this week, but I'll touch base when I can.
He waves you off. He's no longer looking at you. He's looking at the typewriter as he's feeding paper into it.
And I'm off.
Can I ask for you to make a credit rating roll? This is just going to determine how well a person in Regent Street takes your request for a suitable garment. As you say, you know very little about fashion and style. You certainly don't have any art/craft in it, as far as I am aware. So let's just call it credit rating. You'll pay someone else to dress you.
Woof! This is a 27 under 30, and that's before we factor in Jax's Elias money.
Your money is good here. Your money is good, and the lady on Regent Street gives you a number of compliments. I have the dress that is just perfect for your frame, miss. I think I've been waiting for the right model to walk in to wear this one. And she quotes a price. It is high, but it is affordable.
I'm not even going to try to haggle it down. Let's just have a good moment out of the misery that I've experienced in the last 72 hours.
It becomes less affordable when she encourages you to accessorize with the right bag, the right hat, the right scarf, this piece of jewellery. Would you like to dig into the Jackson Elias Incan Fund?
No, just a dress. Dress and shoes, and we'll call it from there.
Your Regent Street tailor, seamstress, is suitably disappointed in that she hasn't made all the peripheral sales, but she has dressed you in a way that could definitely be considered stylish.
Is it scarlet and gold?
If that's what you requested.
Well, that's what Rupert said, and I'm going to lean in on Rupert, yes.
In that case, you have a scarlet dress, which in many places would turn a head. There is a gold band that goes around it at the waist, cinches it quite tight, but it's not uncomfortable. And another pair of bands that go around just around your rib cage. These ones are likewise tight, and this dress makes you look both stylish and sexy. People will look at you. People will find you charming and interesting. And that is kind of the point. You do not, however, look like you work the East End or that you're looking for clients. That's not the look. You look like someone who has just stepped out of New York and onto the streets of the West End of London. You're ready to make a scene. A good one.
I think about the splash I'm going to make as I am admiring myself in the mirror, and just as I am connecting with myself, there's a disconnect that happens as well as my eyes just shift over to the male suits that are here, and I can't help wondering what Felix would look like in that suit, if Jackson would prefer teal or green in the undershirt for that. I wonder what Shelby would look like in a tuxedo. It's just one of those things. I'm not as present with myself as I would like to be, mostly because in the back of my mind, I'm just worried about the boys.
And so you arrive at the Blue Pyramid Club. Anna is waiting there. It is 8 p.m. She is outside as well. Indeed, the Blue Pyramid Club occupies an upper floor above a grocer's. It is not advertised other than a sign in the window, which is simply a blue triangle in the frosted glass. 12B Mead Street. It wasn't Wardour Street, after all, but very close by, so Rupert doesn't know everything about Soho. You can actually hear singing from up there. You can smell food as well, and a loud chattering. Indeed, it looks to you from the ground level to be both noisy and crowded. It seems everywhere you go right now is crowded and noisy. The Greengrocer's is closed as it is 8 p.m, but there is a stairwell and a rickety old lift. It will take you up there. Anna gestures widely. Well, you look amazing.
Thank you. We clean up well.
And she doesn't look too bad herself.
And may I say, you look stunning as well.
That dress looks new. This one I've worn out. Well, I don't want to tell you how many times, but I think we're ready to go up to the Blue Pyramid.
We are. Have you spoken to your sister ahead of time?
I tried to leave a message with her, but I don't know if she's heard it or not. But I'm sure she'll be okay seeing me, and then when she finds out about you, well, maybe that happiness will turn into a thrill. Let's find out.
Let's find out. And I will extend my hand out to Anna.
And the two of you ascend the staircase. And that is where we shall end our session.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play Masks of Nyarlathotep for Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Joining us as our keeper is none other than our dear friend Matthew Dawkins, and we were also joined by Bridgett Jeffries and Eddy Webb. The music was made by Aegersonus and Halgrath, and we've also used Cryochamber's Lovecraftian compilation albums. All of this with the permission of Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, Lily, Maciej, Black Templar, Dennis Sadecki, and Leonhardt for their generous support. We would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, this show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of the Lost, Call of Cthulhu, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and Warhammer 40k Imperium Maledictum there. And you can also get early and raw access to all of our recordings, and hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as even play some Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, I am the last. I will tell the audient void.